Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a player interview with College Baseball Central. I'm AJ Sessions, and I am joined here tonight with uh, the one, the only YouTube sensation, Roman Kimball. Roman, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you getting me on here.
Yeah, of course. So, Roman, before we get started, you just want to tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe plug your YouTube a little bit at the beginning. We'll let you do that at the end, too.
Yeah, for sure. To start, I'm a sophomore here, or well, rising junior now, at the University of South Carolina. Transferred here from the University of Notre Dame last year. Ended up having Tommy John surgery in the fall of my sophomore year this year at South Carolina. So did not play at all this season, but working back and preparing to get back for next season. Obviously, as you mentioned, have the YouTube channel. Been doing it for about 3 years now, I believe. Definitely has grown a lot this year with the fan base that the Gamecocks have and everything. So it's definitely been a lot of fun to dive into that part of my life and stuff since I've been hurt. Yeah, but if y'all want to go check that out, it's just Roman Kimball on YouTube. Got lots of cool content over there, stuff from the regional and the super regional. Yeah, definitely go give that a look. Yeah, that's basically what's going on right now. Staying here in South Carolina for the summer to rehab and get stronger and work out with the guys and prepare for next season. Gamecocks are looking to return to Omaha.
Yeah, and as a Gamecock fan, I would love nothing more. Um, but you said you started that about 3 years ago. That puts it about before college. So what got you into thinking, hey, YouTube is something I might want to do alongside baseball?
Yeah, so I got the idea on my way down to high school. So my senior year of high school, I'm originally from upstate New York, and with like the whole COVID thing, I wasn't sure if we were going to have a season, and I was at that point in my high school career where I was like, I think I really need to play this season just in regards to like the draft and everything. Wanted to make sure that I had the ability to play my senior year. Transferred high schools down to P27 Academy down here in Lexington, South Carolina, which is about 20 minutes away from Columbia. And just kind of thought of the idea to create a YouTube channel. It originally started out as an idea for like the whole team to kind of do it, just because like we kind of lived a unique lifestyle, like basically doing baseball pretty much 75% of the day and a little bit of school. And school being online as well was kind of different compared to like other public schools. So we kind of just like started it out, and then like the guys kind of just like weren't really about it as much as what they said they were going to be. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to kind of take it into my own hands. Like I had watched all the Trevor Bauer videos a lot over quarantine and thought it was really cool. And it's a good way to grow like a brand for yourself too. Thought it was a cool idea, just kind of ended up doing it on my own. And like at first it was really slow and like I kind of had to learn everything on my own, but I think now I'm at a really good point where I've got 3 years of experience of filming and editing and stuff under my belt. So I think the stuff I put out like now on my channel is a good representation of who I am and like who we are as a team. And I think it's great for people to see that stuff behind the scenes. I think it's a lot of fun and I enjoy doing it.
So how do you pitch it to the coaches? Obviously when you come in as a freshman to Notre Dame and then transferring to South Carolina, you're going, hey, I have this YouTube channel. I would like to continue to do that. How'd that conversation go?
Yeah, so at Notre Dame, Coach Jarrett was kind of a little bit more uncertain about it just because I was an incoming freshman and everything. So I didn't have the leeway that I do now here at Carolina. Last year I didn't really bring my camera around too much. And then this year, like Coach Kingston has been great with it and he loves it actually. Like he's always telling me to bring it out and stuff because he thinks it's great for recruiting, which, I think it definitely helps. I made the video like the whole year highlight video. I don't know if you watched that or not, but
Well,
like he
absolutely.
said, yeah, so he said that like he's been showing that to recruits a lot. So that's pretty cool to hear, that like I can help him out even with recruiting, just in a small little portion of it. So I think it's cool that, he's kind of allowed me to do this and also like kind of help him out in a way and the other coaches in the program too. He's definitely encouraged me to, be myself and the other coaches have allowed it too. And I think being hurt this year also kind of helped with that because like I basically was on my own with rehab and everything, and I had to put all the stuff that I was doing first before doing anything else. So, I definitely had a lot of leeway with that as well. So, and at the end of the year, I also got to travel because I started throwing. So I feel like that was also helpful too to, kind of get more content out. So it's been great, but I told Coach Kingston and Coach Lee and at the end of the year that I was super thankful for them allowing me to do that because it kind of helped me like get through my rehab too because it gave me something to do, and not being able to play is really hard for me mentally and physically too because I got to work back to getting back to 100%. So it definitely was a huge game changer for me to be able to do that, and I can't thank the coaches enough for allowing it to happen. So
Yeah, I mean, I personally have watched every single video since you've come to South Carolina, and even some before, because you had, I mean, in case you're wondering what last year's Notre Dame team did, they just beat Tennessee, that once in a lifetime caliber Tennessee team that we were hearing everything about. You were on that team as well, and you got to throw in Omaha last year. So,
yes, correct.
uh, so I guess while I brought that up, how was that? Because not many people get to take that stage.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell everybody that I really like just you kind of like black out in that scenario. Like I remember running out from the bullpen and like I remember I was like this is what I dreamed of as like a child. So I thought that was really cool, and you're running out and you literally can't hear anything because the stadium's going nuts. And I remember like all of our games were pretty packed out because we were kind of like an underdog and we had just beaten Tennessee, and like everybody was cheering for us. So all of our games were like pretty much packed out. I think there were like 25,000 people there the night that I pitched. And like I remember getting on the mound and like Coach Jarrett was like, "All right, here you go." And just I remember warming up and like you don't even see the crowd. It's like you literally just see the catcher and the umpire and the hitter. Like that's really all it was. And like I came in a big spot too, ended up getting out of it, and I remember the adrenaline was actually like insane. I remember I was throwing the hardest I had all year there, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you put up a 0 in Omaha. That's
Yeah.
You can always tell your kids about that one. But then obviously coming from Notre Dame to South Carolina, you the transfer portal because of a coaching change.
Absolutely, yeah.
For a lot of college baseball fans and college fans in general, the transfer portal is this wild west unknown entity. Being someone who entered the transfer portal, what was your experience like?
Yeah, so to kind of talk about my transfer experience, see, like I love Notre Dame and I loved the school, the atmosphere, and like the people there were all incredible. And like I had a really good relationship with Chuck Ristano, the pitching coach there. And at the time after Link had left, Coach Ristano was like in the running for the head coach job. So I was kind of waiting out to see what was going to happen with that. But I told him, I was like, hey, like if there's a chance you don't get the head job, like I want to like enter the portal just in case like you don't get the head job, so I'm not like stuck here
Mhm.
like without anything to do. And he was great with that, and he was like, yeah, I completely understand, like, and if I do get the head coach job, we'll 100% take you back because if you enter the portal, there's a chance they can take your scholarship money away. So I just wanted to be sure that he was okay with it, and everything ended up working out. And even though he didn't get the head coach job, like at that point, I had kind of opened up my recruiting process a little bit more. And like when I actually did enter the portal, I said that I didn't want to be contacted by other schools either, just because I was kind of waiting on what was going to happen. But right away, like after all that happened, I was like South Carolina, just because I went to high school here my senior year, came to some games, the atmosphere was unbelievable, and like I know what the program is about and the standards it holds and the expectations and everything, and that's just something I wanted to be a part of. And like meeting with Coach Kingston and the other coaches, like I just kind of knew that I would be in a great spot, and I knew the culture they were trying to build here with all the transfer portal guys they brought in, and I just knew right away that this was where I was supposed to be. So, and it ended up working out. I tell everybody that this was the most fun I've ever had playing baseball this year, and I didn't even step on the field. So uh, that's really like how incredible this season was. So
Yeah, and I mean, talking about this season, in case you want to relive it, you can go watch Roman's vlogs. All of them are incredible. Do you have, I'll ask you for your podium, your top three single game, single moment memories from this season that you caught on camera?
oh, that's crazy! Wow. Um, I'm gonna really have to think about this one.
You can even give me three and not have to put them in order, if that makes it easier.
All right, the first one is definitely the Missouri walk-off wins. That was easily top. And then I'd say run ruling Florida on Friday night was also up there. I'm trying to think of like some other ones. There's so many. It's wild.
Yeah, my
Um,
third is the Tippett home run against Auburn.
yeah, the Tippett home run against Auburn could be in there. That's also a good one. Man, I really got to think. I also think that this is a sleeper, but the Tennessee game against when we scored like 4 or 5 runs off Burns was also pretty incredible. I thought
Yeah,
that was a fun one to film.
yeah,
Because at that point we were struggling, and like to finally get things back to clicking again for that game was pretty awesome to see. I remember going absolutely ballistic in the dugout for that. But
yeah. That
no,
was
I'd
almost
say
as
I'd say yeah, I'd say those four, and I'd say Petrie's home run off Skeens was actually also incredible. That was one of my favorite moments.
Yep. I was in the stands for that, and
Yeah,
I remember just the crowd pop. It
yeah, it was
was
unbelievable,
electric.
unbelievable.
And
Yeah,
then Wimmer 2 innings later, like
yeah. I mean,
um,
all of Petrie's home runs this year were just crazy. Like,
yeah,
it was just like every Friday and Saturday. It was like off the best arms in the SEC. It's just like every week with that kid. It's nuts, man. I'm excited to see him do it next year too. So
so because you brought him up, watching him from the dugout, this is a guy who didn't start the first series. He didn't start. He got a couple pinch hit at bats. Um, at what point did the clubhouse kind of go, we have a dude here?
man, I have to say, I think the biggest turning point for him was definitely the Georgia series because like at that point we had played like good competition, and like he played well against like UMass Lowell and Penn, and then I think our next game on the slate was Clemson, and he played pretty good at Clemson, and then like Georgia, we go on the road and he hit like 2 or 3 homers, and then like we were like, damn, this kid's pretty good. And then the next week against Missouri, he hit the game tying home run, and then he also hit the walk off home run. And then I think the next week we had Mississippi State, and he hit well there. And then like Vanderbilt, LSU, and Florida, we were just like in awe. Like we really couldn't believe what he was doing at that point. So I think the biggest turnaround for him was definitely um, the uh, the Georgia series for sure. So that was when we were all kind of like, damn, this kid's gonna be special.
Yeah, he's real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to you, obviously Tommy John in the fall, um, and you've walked through your rehab process step by step on the vlog. Again, I very much recommend if you're at all interested in learning about a rehab process or how that takes place in a college setting, go watch his vlogs. They're incredibly informative. I think we get to see most of your stretching and lifting routines on there as well. Um, how has that process continued to go for you up to the current day? And have there been any points where you were like, this is never going to end? Um, kind of walk us through the emotional highs and lows of that.
Yeah. So to kind of explain it, give it a little summary. The first 6 weeks were brutal because you had the brace on 24/7, and sleeping with that thing was not ideal. It was I definitely struggled to get sleep with that. Um, but then like once you get the brace off, then you're like in a little period of like a high time because you can sleep normally and you start doing some different exercises. And then like I'd say about for 4 to 6 weeks it's good, and then like once you get to like week 12, and 14, that's when you kind of start doing like or well, I should say week 12 to week 14 was kind of like monotonous because you're kind of doing the same things, but then week 14 you start to do some new stuff. So like a couple weeks go by and then like you're like, okay, this isn't that bad. But like once you get past those 2 weeks, you're in like a month and a half period of you're like, wow, this is the same thing over and over and over again. But then like at that point, you're kind of through like all this doing the same stuff over and over, and then like you work on plyos and like getting back into the throwing motion and everything. And then once you start to throw, like it's been I've been throwing for like 8 weeks now. I looked at the program the other day and it feels like I just started throwing yesterday. So I'd say the biggest thing is like when you start to throw again, that's when it kind of starts taking off on you. Because like I think here in a couple weeks, I'm already like starting to throw change ups again. So it's I'd say once you start throwing again is when it really starts to like come back to you and it just kind of takes off. So I'm finally glad to be back at this point where everything is kind of just rolling down the hill now. So I'm excited to get back out there next year and actually play. So
Yeah, I mean, it seems like from your vlogs, you've placed a lot of emphasis on still trying to maintain that feel for the mechanics you're looking for and everything. How hard is it, go the first 90% of a throwing motion and then not have your arm basically follow through with a ball in it when that's just what you've done your entire life?
yeah, I'd say the first few weeks of this process, like I'd say up until about right now, it felt like I was not moving my body as fast, obviously because I can't throw it extremely hard right now, and I'm kind of working back, and I'm like I have to be within a certain velo range and everything. So I'd say that it's definitely weird, kind of throwing like super slow all the time because I mean I'm not really throwing 65 miles an hour like on normal throw days. So I'd say that's the biggest difference was definitely just kind of working back slowly again. But now that I'm at 90 feet, it's kind of coming back to me a little bit, and like everything that is starting to feel normal again. So, but yeah, like you said, like I really kind of focused on keeping my mechanical stuff the same because I worked on a lot in the fall to kind of change my delivery a little bit and command the ball a little bit better because at Notre Dame that's kind of what I struggled with, and also gained a little bit of weight too and changed a couple things mechanically to kind of get some more velo as well. So I was throwing harder in the falls too. So I just wanted to make sure that that stuff kind of became muscle memory, so I didn't kind of go back to my old habits when I started throwing again. So that's why I kind of put such a big emphasis on like training that part of uh, my body as well during this process.
You mentioned working in the fall. You transferred into a pitching staff that had leaders like Will Sanders, Noah Hall, James Hicks, guys who have been there, done that, and all of them were back to prove a point. Um, did you learn anything leadership wise, or just what did you see from those guys on a day in day out basis of just dedicating themselves to the game and to the team?
Yeah, just their work ethic was the outlier for them, like Noah Hall, Jack Mahoney, Hicks, Sanders, all those guys, they put the work in and they grind. And, like that's the biggest leadership quality in my opinion is their work ethic and how they show that and how it pays off for them, like for the amount of effort they put in, they get the same amount of rewards out of it, so they get pretty rewarded with the work they put in, and I feel like that's the biggest leadership quality that they all had this year was their results. So I feel like that's the biggest leadership quality to have as a pitcher. And we didn't really have many vocal leaders this year on the pitching staff. It was more just kind of leading by example and doing things their own way and just kind of leading by example. So. I think that's the biggest key for the pitching staff next year is just kind of have like guys who are gonna, put the work in and day out, and just shut up and work and go out there and get it done. So I feel like that's the best way for guys to kind of follow. So
Yeah, and I didn't mean to leave off Jack Mahoney. He was an absolute beast to end the year,
Yeah, he's a
especially.
dog. He's a dog.
Um,
Yeah.
he was, especially him bouncing back from injury as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It was very impressive to
Absolutely.
see him go about his business like that.
Yeah.
Um, so rehab content looking ahead the rest of the summer going into the fall, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I kind of plan on doing a little bit more lifestyle stuff, because I got to fill in some content for the missing games. So, I mean, I plan on doing a lot more fun stuff this summer. Maybe taking a couple trips to the beach or something, because we never have any free time to like go out and do something. So, it'd be nice to kind of take some visits, maybe go to Charleston or something. But I'm still going to be posting the rehab and posting the workouts that we do this summer, because we're getting after it every day in the summer. It's not like in season lifting where we're kind of taking it easy, making sure that we're staying healthy on the field, only lifting 3 times a week. Like, we're getting after it every single day. The guys are hungry, because like that ending a couple weeks ago it stung a little bit for me and for everybody else. So we don't want that to happen again next year. So we're grinding our butts off to make sure that doesn't happen. And we got a lot of guys here this summer. I'd say there's probably 15 to 20 guys here, who all are planning on coming back. So it's a good atmosphere. It's a lot of fun, and I think the fans are gonna want to see that for sure in the videos. So I'm excited to get that content out.
Yeah, I know Coach Kingston credited a lot of the success this year to a core guys staying over the
Yeah,
summer and putting work in, and for that to be the case this summer as well, I think just continues to point in the right direction for
for
Gamecock
sure.
baseball. Because for a lot of teams, Super Regional is great, but I know for growing up a Gamecock fan and everything,
Yeah,
Super Regionals are great, but that's not the standard. The standard
absolutely.
for Gamecock baseball is Omaha, and I know
Absolutely. Yeah,
the only people who want it more than the fans are the players on the field.
absolutely. 100%.
Um, so, bro, I hope you each days this summer. You have put in a ton of hard work and absolutely deserve them. Um, and I hope rehab continues to go well. Again, if you want to plug your YouTube channel in case people didn't look it up at the beginning of the interview.
Absolutely. It's just Roman Kimball on YouTube vlogs. Going to be doing lots of stuff this summer too. Keeping up with the rehab process, and I think I'll be getting off the mound here pretty soon as well, just for some light bullpens. So y'all won't want to miss that either. But yeah, all the Gamecock fans out there, be sure to check it out, and also shout the merch line too. I got my own merch. I'm wearing it right now, as y'all can see. So, um, but yeah, that's just it should be in my YouTube bio or description or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, be sure to check that out too. And yeah, I appreciate you having me on, AJ. Had a lot of fun, and I always love talking Gamecock baseball. So
Yeah, nothing better. And the merch link is also in his Twitter. So if you
yeah, it
follow him on
is.
Twitter as well, you can get merch that way as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So highly recommend. Good follow, great content. I mean, you're not going to get many better views into a deep college baseball locker room than Roman Kimball's vlog. So highly
Absolutely,
recommend.
for sure.
Roman, thank you again for spending your Tuesday evening with me. That is,
Absolutely, my man. Had a lot of fun.
yeah, I appreciate it, and thank you very much. Again, this is AJ Sessions, joined by Roman Kimball on College Baseball Central.